maintained will continue to endure, inspiring all who follow. May the principles he championed continue to guide the men and women of the Illinois National Guard and impact our nation and world. And now, God bless all who serve in harm's way and comfort their families, we pray. Guide our nation's leaders and let there be peace in our world. It is in your hands that we place our trust. This is our prayer, O God. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Doan. Sharing this special occasion today are many, many friends, family, distinguished guests who I'm honored to introduce. Present at today's ceremony is Major General McDonough's mother, Eileen McDonough, his wife, Cindy McDonough, his daughter, Kelly McDonough, and her fiance, Ben Honeyus, his son, Danny McDonough, and fiance, Claire Vickerman, his sister, Mary Carver, his brothers, Andy and Mike McDonough, his aunt, Burnett Eaton, his sister-in-law, Joanne McDonough, Angie Marzelli, and all others who could not be here today that are attending virtually, including Cindy's parents, Jim and Janice Kelly. We would also like to welcome our distinguished guests. Please hold your applause till the end. Representative from U.S. Congressman Darren LaHood's office, Military and Veterans Advisor, Mr. Miguel Ortiz. Outreach Representative and Grants Coordinator, Office of Congressman Eric Sorensen, Beth Jensen. Commander, Illinois Air National Guard, Brigadier General Kevin Jacobs. Assistant Adjutant General Air, Brigadier General Stephen Rice. Assistant Adjutant General Army, Brigadier General Lenny William. Retired Brigadier General Frank Rizek. Retired Brigadier General Robbie Robinson and his wife Sally. Retired Brigadier General Martin Green. Chief of the Joint Staff Headquarters, Illinois Air National Guard, Colonel Matthew Garrison. National Guard Assistant to the Air Combat Command Chaplain, Chaplain Colonel Michael Doan. U.S. PFO, Colonel Brian Creech. Director, Department of Military Affairs, Colonel Elizabeth Roxworthy. Commander, 126th Air Refueling Wing, Colonel Nicholas Henschel. Commander, 183rd Wing, Colonel Sean Straley. Deputy Commander, 182nd Airlift Wing, Colonel Robert Reed. Commander, 182nd Operations Group, Colonel Brandon Rutherford. Commander, 182nd Medical Group, Colonel Douglas Powers. Commander, 183rd Medical Group, Colonel Alan Fillmore. Commander, 182nd Contingency Response Group, Colonel Joey Sessions. Commander, 182nd Mission Support Group, Colonel Virgil Zorn. Deputy State Air Surgeon, Illinois Air National Guard, Colonel Aaron Boyer. Retired Colonel Stephen Thomas. Retired Colonel Peter Joseph Labarba. Illinois National Guard Command Senior Enlisted Leader, Command Sergeant Major Kehendi Salami. State Command Chief, Air, Chief Master Sergeant Christopher Merce. Command Chief 182nd Air Wing, Chief Master Sergeant Donald Henry. Retired Chief Master Sergeant Marlon Burton and his wife Jenna. Retired Chief Master Sergeant Richard Boulay and his wife Barb. Retired Chief Master Sergeant Cy Snyder and his wife Tina. We'd also like to welcome all other commanders, chiefs, current and former members of the Illinois Air National Guard. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce the close friend and mentor of Major General McDonough, Colonel Retired Tim Stumbaugh.
Chili put the student way down so that he could get to it, and I couldn't. Brought my speech up here, and And I said, Chili, is there anywhere that I can put this? And he's like, yeah, let me just put it wherever. And Chief Prater was like, well, no. Everybody else has got their speeches on the upper level. So since me being the youngest and most spry and athletic one of them, we have three of us that are going to speak. I put mine all the way down. And I don't know about men told me to describe me when Reverend continued in. For those of you who don't know me, Tim's come up, privileged to serve here for 13 years. Ended up down as the vice wing commander, and then up in maintenance group in my last 2 years as the maintenance group commander. So it's great to be back with y'all here in Peoria. It's been too long since I've been back here. So thanks for having me back. And Major General Boyd, welcome back to Peoria, sir. It's always great to have the Adjutant General here in Peoria. So I know that you're happy to be shedding Dan off to the city full time now. So, but he has spoken highly of you, sir. So it's good to finally get to meet you. Brigadier General Kevin Jacobs, commander of the Air National Guard. Heard a lot of good about you. It's finally get to put a name with the face. Brigadier General Frank Rezac, it's always good to see you. And Brigadier General Robbie Robertson. Robbie hired me back in 2005 to come here and fly 130s. And then he called me up in 2014 and asked me to come down and be his vice commander. I was kind of ready for a change after being under Dan's tyrannical reign for 10 years. So I was very honored. Thank you for the opportunity, sir. So I come down the first weekend, Robbie sits me down to kind of talk about my roles and responsibilities as the vice. And he goes through a list of things, you'd be doing this, you'd be ahead of that. And he goes through some stuff. And he gets done, and I said, hey, sir, where's the part about me taking over if you're unavailable and being in charge? And he looks at me and goes, if that happens, Dan's in charge, you just do whatever the hell he says. My good friend, Brigadier General Steve Rice, congratulations. It's an honor to call you a friend. Steve replaced me. He was my deputy in maintenance group. I certainly couldn't have done the job, and I don't think I would have even taken the job had not been down there. So it's my right hand. So congratulations on the promotion, General. It's always good to see you. By the way, Dan, did Jeanette ever ask you what you do while Steve runs the Illinois Air Guard? I was just wondering. Yeah. Colonel Rusty Ballard's here today. I didn't see Rusty. No. I was privileged to work with two of the smartest guys that I've ever met in my life while I was here. Colonel Corey Reed, who was the Mission Support Group Commander, and Colonel Burt Welker, who was my predecessor in the maintenance group. When Robbie asked me to be the maintenance group commander, I've been his vice for a couple years. And I had no maintenance background, right? So I was very hesitant to do it. And I told him, hey, listen, if you're the boss, you tell me what to do. I'll go and I'll do it to the best of my ability. But I don't think I have much credibility walking into the building. And the next day, I get to my office back in wing headquarters, and Steve, Bart's sitting there. And Bart said, hey, listen, if you have any hesitation about taking the job, the chiefs run everything. At that level, it's not like anybody's asking to go out there and turn wrenches or anything like that. So you just go out there and be a leader. That's what it's all about at that level. And he definitely helped put me in the right frame of mind to do that. So I'll be forever grateful for that. I tell people it's the best job I never knew I wanted. So it's a perfect way for me to finish up the last couple of years here at Peoria. Indulge me a couple more minutes of personal time up here. I am a pilot, so at some point it is all about me. Like I said, it's great to see all of y'all who I haven't seen in so long. First of all, my home away from home, Jake and Katie Pogman, they basically adopted me and took me in the first 5 years that I was commuting back here from Virginia. So I could not have done that commute for so long without them, so I appreciate it very much. The guy who brought me to this unit, Chris Corriger, and his wife Tracy, I haven't seen them yet today. he introduced me to Peoria and walked me around when I came up here to interview. And we'll get a couple of drinks in us, and we'll have a discussion about which quarter is the better attack airlift. My fellow Cougars, my boy Colonel P.J. LaBarber, Cougar 2. I didn't see Cy, but I heard his name, so I assumed Cy somewhere back there. Aaron Dolan, Goody, Skun, Trent Lane, and Jamie. There you are, hey Cy, and Jamie Krill. Those guys took care of me on my first deployment over the Afghan scale with this unit. If they ever build a TAC Airlift Hall of Fame, there will be a statue of the Cougars standing guard out front. Cy, thanks for coming up with the name of Cougars today. That was awesome. Gary Babcock, I know Chief Babcock said he was going to try to make it here. Oh, there he is, hey Chief. Probably arguably the greatest flight engineer in the 70-year history of this airplane. And taught me more about being a pilot of this airplane than any pilot probably ever did. So good to see you again, Chief. Chief Bill Thurston, who I didn't see Bill yet, but Chief Bill Thurston was the maintenance QA chief when I got here to maintenance group. He kind of took care of me. And he tells a pretty funny story about Dan coming and screaming at him one Friday afternoon when he was running maintenance control. And all Bill was trying to do is get some pizza ordered for lunch. He didn't realize Dan was serious about getting some airplanes ready to fly that day. Everybody else, I wish I had time to call out everybody that's meant so much to me through the years here at Peoria. But it is great to see everyone. Chief Brady, it's great to see you. Congratulations. Chief Burton, I saw that came up to me, scared me to death in the Miami airport. I didn't recognize him on the uniform and yelled at me. When somebody as big as Chief Burton comes up to you, congratulations, Chief. Right man for the right job. I appreciate you. So just as I was getting my speech all ready, Dan threw me a curveball, and he said, "Now remember, my mom is going to be in the audience. So you're going to have to keep all the stories PG. I promise to keep it about NC-17 level. But, still, yet it turned 30 minutes into 10 minutes, which my wife Jennifer is very happy about. So here we are. Dan retired in January. He's finally reaching into that mountain money and paying for a retirement party 5 months later. I mean, in 5 months, Robbie had 6 retirement parties in that amount of time. When Dan got promoted to 1-star, I was over at their house after the 6-hour change command ceremony. And I got to introduce myself to Andy, his brother, and I said, "Oh, you must be Dan's brother." And he's like, "You're not going to be another one of these people that tell me how great my brother is." I was like, "Hell no, I hate that a-hole." That's a jerk. He's like, "I think I'm going to like you." Man, that guy's been holding me back for years. So I think I'm a logical choice to be standing up here talking at Dan's roast. I first met Dan in January of 2005, like I said, when I came up here to interview. I put a tweet in. It had snowed, there was ice all over the runway, and I'm reading the NOTAMs and the weather reports that come up here, and it's got all these weird ice codes and all this stuff. And my rule of thumb was, if I don't know what it is, I just don't do it. That's too much work for me to look up. But I came up here, I met Dan in the hallway. I think he was the chief of training at the time. And he comes up to me, he's like, "Oh, Dan, McDonough, I flew F-16s." We're going straight there, man. 10% there, General. So I came back from serving out the rest of my active duty. Come back, and at the time, Dan subsequently became the squadron commander, about to take over as the ops group commander. Of course, he didn't remember me. He comes up, "I'm Dad McDonough, used to fly F-16." And then when he became the ops group commander, that started the longest operations group commander reign in the history of the U.S. Air Force. Dan still holds the record as the longest continuing student in Air War College. In fact, it took Billy Mitchell less time to go from major to brigadier general and back to lieutenant colonel than it took Dan to complete Air War College. But the good thing for our unit was when Dan was still Lieutenant Colonel, he was deployed with our unit, be our squadron commander deployed. And I can't tell you what it means to be deployed with your unit and have a commander that is operationally focused, but yet takes care of all of his people. And I know I can speak for all of us and say thank you for all you did and all the long hours you put in over there. Of course, those Afghanistan rotations weren't the first time that the 182nd had gone to war. Back in 2003, before I got to the unit, the 182nd got activated and sent over to Minhad and UAE. And since Blister's not here, I can tell Minhad stories and I don't have to worry about anybody having an aneurysm. So Dan was aircraft commander of a ragtag bunch of guys that they like to call themselves the A-Team. And their fame is only matched and obviously surpassed by the fame of the Cougars. Chin was his co-pilot, Nick Zoid, I haven't seen Zoid, I think Zoid here. Chief Weggs, and of course we lost Joel. Towards the end of the deployment, the A-Team got a reprieve. They went to Kuwait City, staying in some swanky hotel. And, you've been flying for 6-8 months away from home, over in war. And you're going to do something fun. They decided to make prison line in a cooler in Chin's bathtub. For those of y'all that don't know anything about prison dudes, like in the best case, it's terrible. And in the worst case, it's like lethal. So it normally takes like, I don't know, 3 or 4 or 5 days to fully ferment. And so they stir it up and they get it all set up. And as luck would have it, they get recalled early to go back to UAE. And they only had 1 night left, but the prison line had a couple nights left before it fermented. So being good air crew, they decided to roll the bones, take the chances, and they went ahead and drank it. And I'm not going to get too specific, but let's just say that some spas charge a lot of money for what they call colonic hydrotherapy. The store tore up that money market. We just got back from deployment in 2010. My wife and I sold our house and moved out to Peoria. Told Dan that I was leaving the unit. We were in Puerto Rico for a couple weeks right after that. And, Dan and Jesse and I were having a few beers. And they asked me to take Troy Roberts' job as DO because Troy was retiring. And I was kind of taken back. I mean, I was a worker bee for sure. I was obviously an exceptional pilot. I wasn't really on the leadership track around here. But, I kind of started at a time in my life where Dan and I got to work really closely together. And I was the DO for a while, and Dan hired me on to be the OSS commander. And the times that Danny, Rick Wingman, who was the Aero Squadron commander, and I would sit down in his office and just talk about work and the unit and life and kids and Rick's 43-year house construction project. It meant a lot to me. And they taught me a lot about leadership, followership. Dan would always tell me, sometimes there's what's best for the individual, and then there's what's best for you. Those were great lessons in life that I took from that. We went up to a couple of operational readiness exercises and inspections up at Volt Field. Dan's room was right beside mine. We did the night shift, so we would get down at 7 in the morning, and we'd go to the debriefing with all the head honchos from the inspector team. He'd come back and we'd sit down. We'd talk and kind of debrief the night, talk about a game plan and things like that. Just also kind of shoot the breeze. I'll never forget those fireside chats, those father-son chats, as I like to refer to them as. We were headed to Afghanistan one time for deployment. We stopped at St. John's, Newfoundland, in Canada. It's one of my favorite places on earth. And we were out there having a few drinks. I was looking around for Dan, and I'm walking by a place. I look in the window of the cotton. Sorry about that. As Operations Group Commander, Dan chaired, he was the head of all our pilot training hiring boards. You know what's coming. So there were normally about 5 or 6 of us on the board. As one of the squadron commanders, I was always sitting behind it. We would always mess with the poor kids. Danny, I don't know if you messed with me like this, since we were all online. We would like wedge the chair under the table for the person that was interviewing so they couldn't pull it out. Or we would set like 3 or 4 pieces of chocolate in front of them and see what they would do. And they would come in and they would ask, could I eat the chocolate? And I'm like, I don't know, kidding me? And we're like, no, seriously though, you can do whatever, one piece of chocolate. And then they would reach for the chocolate and we'd act like we were like something down. Part of the interview process, I promise I'm almost done. Part of the interview process, Dan would ask them all these questions, a beautiful box of chocolate and all this stuff. But he would also kind of give them a little scenario just to see how they would react under pressure. And one of the scenarios was, hey, you're brand new co-pilot's your first time across the ocean, and we're in St. John's, and you get up early, we got a 5 o'clock band time in the morning, and you get down there at 4:30 in the lobby, and you're sitting there. You see Lipper and me come rolling in about 4:30 from, clearly been out all night and blah, blah, blah. We come down, we go up to our room, come down and get changed. We're clearly not suitable to fly. What are you going to do? Obviously, the purpose of that is to see if this person would say, hey, I'm going to do whatever it takes to keep you guys from flying. That's the intent of the whole thing. So this poor kid, he's over there, Dave gives him this scenario. He wasn't prior military, so he kind of didn't understand what the operations group commander was. But he was like, well, could I try to get somebody else to fly? And it's like, nope, it's supposed to be. He's like, Lipper's in worship, and I am. And it's like, well, could I call somebody back home? And it's like, well, who are you going to call? And he was like, well, I'm going to call somebody bigger than you. And Dan looks at him and says, kid, I'm as big as it gets. So needless to say, the rest of us in the room just started absolutely dying. So that's probably 15 years ago. Dan and I go skiing together every year out west, and he knows that it's coming up at some point on the trip. I can tell a ton more stories, but I'm about done here. So, be remiss without mentioning a few of the years that Dan spent out at headquarters as the ATAG. And some of the things that he will not miss about his days down there, one of which being the central air conditioning coming on all the time in January and February, the vents blowing right on his head as he's sitting in his conference room. As you can see, we all three see to get anywhere around here, you've got to have a shaved head. It's kind of how we roll here. The endless stream of red folders full of questions and no answers. Dan used to call it a cobra every under rock I turn over. He just dressed blues for an event in Springfield, and remembering that they're in Peoria. And frustration of parking an oversized truck in an undersized spot. Steve's not going to have that problem because he doesn't have to overcompensate with a big truck. I'm getting done, General. I don't know if I've got about 10 more pages here. Of course, he'll miss the lovely sight of the burned out tavern right outside the main gate as he undergoes its renovation. I didn't know anything about Peoria or the 182nd until I got here. I've been incredibly blessed by the people in this unit. You guys truly are resplendent. And there honestly isn't a better C-130 wing in the world. Cindy, thanks for always letting me invade your home when I was here over for a weekend and when I'd come out and hang out with you guys. Letting me into your lives. Danny and Kelly, it's been great watching you guys grow up. Your mom and dad are super proud of you. We talked about the patch, the blanket ass patch that all the officer guys wear on their arm. You know, we used to joke that Jesse was the face of the patch. And while that's true, Dad, you're the heart and soul of it. And no one I know of embodies the glory of Whitmore. And I know everyone in this hangar can say the same thing. Thank you for your 40 years of service, my friend. Congrats.
Thank you, Colonel Sunlaw. It is now my distinct pleasure to introduce the presiding official of today's ceremony, Major General Rodney Boyd.
Good afternoon, everyone. How we doing? Good afternoon, everyone. This is a celebration. What we doing? That's right. Hey, look, one thing I can promise you, I'm not going to be long-winded like this, but I'm going to do it. I'm not going to roast them because that's not funny. I'm joking. First and foremost, let me, any veterans in the audience, could you please stand up and let's give them a big round of applause. Veterans in the audience, please stand up. Yeah. And I always say, whenever I speak, I say thank you to the family members and the supporting cast. Because without you all, we won't be able to do what we love to do, and that's to wear this uniform, serve this great state and this great country. And specifically, Cindy, Danny Jr., now you get ready to go out there and do some great things in the shadow of your father. Big shoes to fill, so good luck with that. All right. Kelly, thank you for your support, because we do what we do, and we know we affect you all, the spouses and the children. And but you all do so well in supporting us, because we want to say thank you. So I'm just going to do a couple of quick things real quick, because we got to celebrate this gentleman right here. We got some things we got to do, and then we got to hear him cry, because you got to get through his speech. So one of the so I was the Assistant Adjutant General Army when Dan became the Assistant Adjutant General Air. And one of the most intimidating meetings that we had was the quarterly readiness brief. That's when you get to, once a quarter, you get to brief the TAG, the Adjutant General, how jacked up you are. And you have to explain to him why some of your units were succeeding and some were failing. So when Dan became an ATAG Air, I had been an ATAG Army for 1 year. So I was a pro at it, right? So General Leary, my predecessor, he was the TAG ATAG. He said, Rod, go ahead, brief me on the Army. So I went through the thing, I'm like, this, sir, this. I've been at it a year, right? Then, all right, Rod, thank you. All right, Dan, tell me what you got. So Dan, it's his first time, right? He's kind of fumbling, no, not that dude. Yeah, this one right here. And he's like struggling, right? And so General Leary, he's an airman as well. At the end of the day, the brief, he goes, looks at him and goes like, okay, thank you. Make sure you get with Rodney after the brief and figure out how to do it, right? And that started our friendship, because I was like, hey, because Dan came on like, what is the boss looking for? And so we would go through it, and then from there, meeting after meeting, we would talk about family and what it is to be in our position at the time. That's when I really got to know him. And we were ATAG together for a couple of years, and I really appreciate our friendship. And so the next story. So when I became TAG a couple of years ago, it's 2 years ago exactly to this month. Dan came to my office and he's not gonna go, because I was still at ATAG. I was sitting in my office, but I got the announcement went out. Dan came to my office, not gonna go. He said, hey Rob, I'm telling you, if you want to get somebody, point somebody else to be the ATAG, I understand you can make changes. I said, whoa, slow down. I said, no, I want you to be my ATAG. I said, I know you. I know your capabilities. I know the respect that you command when you walk in the room. I said, but you got to get Cindy permission first, though. You come back, you go talk to Cindy. If she says yes, I know she tired you driving up and down the road, from Peoria to Springfield. If she come back and she says yes, you got the job. So he said, but I really want to do it. I said, go back and talk to Cindy. So he comes back 2 days later. Hey, Rob. She said yes. I said, okay. I said, so we're gonna two old guys gonna ride together, okay? Me and you. Yeah, let's do it. And so that's when it was such an easy choice for me to make my 10 years. And then the last story I want to tell you is about we was at August. It's a national conference, and it rotates to different states. I forget where we were at, but it was a few years ago. I don't think I had that Cindy at the time, but August is usually in the late August, and my birthday is late August, and so I usually have my birthday at August. I was celebrating, but I'm just there, right? And then so one I think it was the first time I met Cindy. We was at August, and we had a room for the state of Illinois that we would go in and kind of hang out, have drinks, and talk, and get to know each other more. And then the next thing I know is there's this birthday cake, and people are singing "Happy Birthday" to. I'm looking around like, who are you talking to? Happy birthday to you. And it come right to me. I was like, oh. And Cindy had found out maybe through Dan that it was my birthday. Got together with other people, bought the cake, and welcomed and wished me a happy birthday. That's why I said I knew then. I said, Dan is lucky. To have somebody to think about someone that she barely knew at the time, but to get together a group and put together a birthday cake. And I never forgotten that. From that time, I said, what a special person you are. So I thank you for that to this day. So then the last thing I do, so usually when I go to deployment ceremony, I charge the soldiers that's going out the door to do certain things. And so I kind of looked at my last list. In fact, I got a deployment ceremony tomorrow. So I looked at the list of things I charged the soldiers to do. And in this case, I want to convert that to a list for Dan. But I can't charge him because he don't work for me anymore, right? He didn't tell me to go jump off the nearest bridge if he wanted to, right? But I want to ask you to do a couple of things in your retirement. I ask that you try to be a better person in retirement as you were in service. I ask that you continue to maintain your physical fitness because you gotta enjoy this retirement. You can't be cruising around in a wheelchair, can you? I ask that you continue to educate yourself because a good leader never gets tired of learning. I ask that you continue to represent this organization to the best of your ability, even though you're out of uniform. You are official ambassador to this organization, or for this organization. And lastly, I ask that you keep the lines of communication with your loving spouse open. Because I know you're used to doing certain things, and sometimes, people, they're used to a certain routine, they go into retirement and then they get lost. I know you won't do that, but I'm making it public. I'm asking you not to do that. I'm asking you to be present for your kids as well, because they were present for you. I know you're going to do that. He talks about Danny all the time. And he talks about you too, Kel, You're a guy, dog. You're right by my son. But he talks about you too, Kel. But I know you will, but I want to make it public that I asked you. I would just like to say thank you for giving so much of your time to this organization. And thank you for becoming a personal friend of mine. Because as you know, when you get in these positions, you don't really know who your friends are. A lot of people come because they want something. Dad never asked for anything. That wasn't the action. But it was all for the betterment of the organization. It wasn't a personal ask, right? So I really appreciate that. So congratulations. I look forward to staying connected with you. And that I think we got a ceremony we got to finish here, right? Let's get on with the presentation. Thank you all.
Thank you, Major General Boyd. Would Major General McDonough please come forward and join Major General Boyd for the presentation of the Distinguished Service Medal. Ladies and gentlemen, if able, please stand. Attention to orders. Citation to accompany the award of the Defense Distinguished Service Medal. The President of the United States of America, authorized by an act of Congress on July 9, 1918, awards the Distinguished Service Medal to Major General Daniel R. McDonough for exceptionally meritorious service in a duty of great responsibility. Major General McDonough distinguished himself as the Assistant Adjutant General Air, Illinois Air National Guard, from 15 May 2022 to 31 December 2025. During this period, General McDonough's visionary leadership and strategic direction resulted in a period of unprecedented success and global impact. He expertly guided over 1,100 worldwide deployments in support of every combatant command and played a pivotal role in Air Defender 23, the largest transatlantic NATO deployment in history. He spearheaded the force's modernization by overseeing the conversion to the C-130J aircraft and the activation of a new contingency response group, posturing the force for future conflict. Under his command, the Illinois Air National Guard achieved the #1 mission-capable rating in the U.S. Air Force's AC-135 fleet and earned a benchmark readiness inspection rating, setting a new standard for excellence. His strategic oversight led to billions of dollars in cost savings and resource realignment, dramatically enhancing the readiness of the total force, and culminated in the flawless, rapid mobilization of forces for sensitive named operations in the U.S. Southern Command area of responsibility. The singularly distinctive accomplishments of General McDonough culminate a long and distinguished career in the service of his country and reflect great credit upon himself, the Air National Guard, and the United States Air Force. Major General McDonough will now receive the State of Illinois Distinguished Service Medal. Attention to orders. This is to certify that the Adjutant General, State of Illinois, has awarded the Distinguished Service Medal to Major General McDonough, Illinois Air National Guard. Major General Daniel R. McDonough distinguished himself through exceptionally meritorious service as Assistant Adjutant General Air, Illinois National Guard. General McDonough expertly guided over 1,100 worldwide deployments, including NATO's historic Air Defender 23, and spearheaded modernization via C-130J aircraft conversion and the activation of a new contingency response group. Under his command, the AC-135 fleet achieved the Air Force's top mission capability rating, and his strategic oversight realized billions in cost savings. The distinctive accomplishments of General McDonough reflect great credit upon himself and the Illinois Air National Guard. Major General Boyd will now direct the publishing of the retirement order.
Publish the retirement order.
Attention to orders. Special Order P68, Effective 1 January 2026, you are relieved from assignment, Assistant Adjutant General Air, and honorably discharged from the Illinois Air National Guard, retired effective 31 December 2026, per Department of Air Force Instruction 36-3203 in the grade of Major General. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. At this time, Major General McDonough will now be presented with a certificate of retirement from the Chief of Staff of the United States Air Force. It reads, Certificate of Retirement from the Armed Forces of the United States of America. To all who shall see these, presents greeting. This is to certify that Major General Daniel McDonough, having served faithfully and honorably, was retired from the United States Air Force on the 31st day of December, 2025. Signed, Kenneth S. Rosebach, General, Chief of Staff, United States Air Force. Major General McDonough, we are also pleased to present you with a Presidential Certificate of Appreciation, which reads, Certificate of Appreciation for service in the Armed Forces of the United States. Major General Daniel McDonough, I extend my personal thanks and sincere appreciation of the grateful nation for your contribution of honorable service to our country. You have helped maintain security of the nation during a critical time in its history with a devotion to duty and spirit of sacrifice in keeping with the proud tradition of military service. I trust that in the coming years you will maintain an active interest in the armed forces and the purpose for which you serve. Those who follow in your footsteps will draw inspiration from your commitment, dedication, and sacrifice made to ensure the protection of our American freedom. My best wishes to you for your happiness and success in the future. Signed, Donald J. Trump, Commander-in-Chief. Major General McDonough would now like to invite his wife, Mrs. Cindy McDonough, to the stage to receive a thank you certificate. The certificate of appreciation reads, in grateful of appreciation, the United States Air Force presents the certificate of recognition to Cindy McDonough for commitment and numerous contributions that made positive impacts to the national defense. Thank you for the support which gave strength and purpose to your spouse's service. We now invite Mr. Miguel Ortiz, Military and Veterans Advisor to Congressman LaHood on stage to present Major General McDonough with a congressional record on behalf of Congressman LaHood.
Thank you, Colonel Childers. Congressional record, House of Representatives, recognizing and honoring Major General Daniel R. McDonough, Honorable Darren LaHood of Illinois, House of Representatives. Today, I recognize and honor the extraordinary service of Major General Daniel R. McDonough, whose distinguished career has had a lasting impact on Peoria, Illinois, and the United States of America. General McDonough devoted nearly 4 decades to the United States Air Force and the Illinois Air National Guard, building a legacy of leadership, professionalism, and commitment to mission success. Commissioned through the Academy of Military Science in 1987, he served as a command pilot, instructor, and evaluator with more than 5,600 flight hours, including nearly 700 combat and combat support hours. Throughout his distinguished career, General McDonough served in numerous operational and command roles, flying the OA-37 Dragonfly, F-16 Fighting Falcon, and C-130 Hercules. He deployed multiple times in support of Operations Enduring Freedom and Iraqi Freedom, and commanded the 774th Expeditionary Airlift Squadron at Bagram Air Base in Afghanistan. Illinois is especially grateful for General McDonough's many years of service in Peoria, where he commanded the 169th Airlift Squadron, the 182nd Operations Group, and the 182nd Airlift Wing. Under his leadership, the wing maintained strong mission readiness and remained a critical part of our nation's airlift capabilities. In 2022, General McDonough was selected as Assistant Adjutant General, Air, and Commander of the Illinois Air National Guard, leading more than 3,000 airmen across the state. His leadership helped guide important modernization efforts, including the 182nd Airlift Wing's transition to the C-130J Super Hercules. On behalf of the people of Illinois and the grateful nation, I thank Major General Daniel R. McDonough for his extraordinary service and wish him and his wife Cindy and their family continued success and happiness in retirement. I ask my colleagues to join me in honoring his remarkable legacy of leadership and service. Sincerely and signed, Aaron LaHood, Member of Congress. Thank you, Mr. Ortiz. At this time, we will now present Major General McDonough with a citation of merit from the Governor of Illinois. The citation reads, Citation of Merit awarded to Major General Daniel R. McDonough in grateful acknowledgement for a long and faithful service to the United States and the state of Illinois, awarded 1 January 2026 for more than 39 years of military service, 39 years of which were National Guard service. Signed, the Honorable J.B. Pritzker, Governor of Illinois, Rodney C. Boyd, Major General, Illinois Air National Guard, Adjutant General. We would now like to present a few gifts from the Illinois National Guard. Colonel Henschel will now present a gift to Major General McDonough on behalf of the 126th Air Refueling Wing. General McDonough, thank you for your incredible service. Thank you for your leadership and your mentorship. And thank you for hiring me into the best job I've ever had in the Air Force. And that's leading the 126th Air Refueling Wing on behalf of all 900 of the airmen down at Squadron Force Base. We wish you congratulations. Best of luck, and Godspeed. Thank you, Colonel Henschel. Colonel Robert Reed will now present a gift to Major General McDonough from the 182nd Airlift Wing. This picture was taken in 1993, standing in the North Carolina, reflecting your home. Thank you, Colonel Reed. Lieutenant Colonel Randy Faison will now present a gift to Major General McDonough on behalf of the 182nd Maintenance Group.
Sean Fraley will now present a gift to Major General McDonough on behalf of the 183rd Wing.
Afternoon. General McDonough, thank you for your leadership. On behalf of the 183rd members, we'd like to present you this fan blade from our centralized engine repair facility. And this is a pretty comment on how nice it looked, as I lugged one over to Poland last year. And so we made sure that we made one for you. And I believe this comes from you flew F-16 at some point, right? It's the motor that powered the F-16. Real quick, what we met about 16, 17 years ago at a strategic planning conference, and I was a captain, he was lieutenant colonel, and we're like, why are we here? Once we figured that out, background of each other, we're Indiana State graduates, so we're the fighting trees, and we always had that in common. So go Larry Bird.
Thank you, Colonel Fraley. Brigadier General Kevin Jacobs will now present a gift to Major General McDonough from the Illinois Joint Force Headquarters.
Hello? Okay, here we go. Hey, so thank you. I got to stick with the theme, sir. So congratulations to General McDonough, who apparently flew F-16s. So no, Colonel Stromberg gave some good material here. So we got to use it. But no, seriously, sir. Congratulations, yes, sir. Congratulations to you and Cindy on this retirement. You've been a great friend, mentor, and leader, and you'll truly be missed. But I'm going to thank you in advance for the reach back, because we'll be reaching out to you for some advice here and there. The men and women of the Joint Force Headquarters wanted to give you something that kind of depicted the three wings that you commanded. And so we came up with this picture. We got the 135, the 130, and all flying over the campus of the 183rd. So, sir, on behalf of the men and women of the Joint Force Headquarters, I want to present you with this gift.
Thank you, General Jacobs. Brigadier General Stephen Rice will now present the shadow box to Major General McDonough from the Illinois Air National Guard.
General McDonough, that's bittersweet for me, you know this. You meant so much to me in my career, and there's just not enough time for me to thank you for all you've done we've talked a long time. But we wish you the best. The 3,000 men and women of the Illinois Air National Guard wish you the best, you and Cindy, your family, the time back, and I'm excited to see what this next chapter of your life brings you. So, with that being said, Dan and Cindy came over to my house. They had Dan's big box with all of his career, his patches, his rank, all the stuff that you would put into a shadow box. But the most impactful thing that was in this shadow box are 5 little things that are at the bottom of the shadow box. And those are the 5 little trinkets that Danny and Kelly gave him when they were small, young, and he carried those in his flight suit when he flew and when he was deployed. So they're in there. It's the most important part of the shadow box, in my opinion. So thank you.
Thank you, General Rice. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to present to you for the first time Major General Daniel McDonough, United States Air Force, retired.
Bill and Lipper did, but way shorter. So, that last one got me. I apologize for that. There's no other words I can say other than humble. Kelly was asking me earlier today, will this be like the last time? Will there be thousands of people? And I said, no, that'll probably be the first or second, third rows will be filled in. So I am blown away by everybody that took their time to come here, to share this with us, our family. We're going to talk about a lot of things here that I seem like I just talked about at my last 2 retirement ceremonies. Jackals. This is my first retirement ceremony. That's it. And by the way, last chance, Rachel. Anything? Let me know. All right. Okay. That's an inside joke, and she's hating me right now. I didn't want to do this. I thought, why don't I just kind of sneak off into the sunset and let the world go by? And so many people said, you owe it to us, you owe it to your family, you owe it to everybody else. And I normally when I get to this point, words come easy. I think about what I have to say and what the point I need to make, and I just couldn't do it. I've been thinking about it for months. I've known this is coming for a long time, and I just couldn't. What do you say? How do you incorporate almost 40 years into something that you can take away? And I realized I just didn't want to do it because I didn't want to take this off. I mean, this has been 40 years. My entire adult life I've worn this uniform. And the thought of parking it this afternoon, taking it off, and never wearing it again for another official ceremony. That's tough. I mean, but it's time. And again, I guarantee this is it. Ain't gonna be another one. We're not gonna pull any cats out of the bag here. We're gonna, hey, you got a 3rd star. That's it. No, that ain't gonna happen. So if you paid attention, I paid really good attention to this. It said 31 December 2026. That ain't the way it's gonna work out. It's 2025. 31 December 25. I'm done. About 2 hours ago, I had a full goatee. And tomorrow, I'm going to start another one. So we're done. I'm not coming back. So I've said this several times. I stand up here as a 2-star general, and it just doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't. I started off. I wanted to fly airplanes, and somehow, just through luck, and a lot of people I'm going to talk about here in a minute, it just worked out. And so my goal here in the next several minutes, it won't be as long as Lippers, and then we rented the room till 4 o'clock, and so I've only got about 3 more minutes. But my goal is to stand up here and brag, but certainly not about myself, but more about the people that are the reason I'm standing here today. So a series of thank yous. I want to start off with the 182nd for putting this together. There's a reason that it took so long. Again, I retired my first day of retirement was the first day of January, but I wanted it to be here. This is home. This is where I grew up. This is having the airplane here means so much to me to have the tools of our military here amongst us. So it means so much for us to be here. So Jake, who's floating around here, thank you so much, Jake. Thank you for that. Tanner Knox down at the Joint Force Headquarters, Lisa McKinney that many of you talked to, the RSVP, that rendition of the National Anthem by Tech Sergeant Norman. Holy cow, man, thank you so much. Yeah. I asked Billy to be the whatever we are, the MC here, and he graciously accepted. I know what a pain in the neck this is, so thank you so much. Lipper, I give you a lot of grief about that, but that was awesome, man. It really did. That got me in the field. So if that's what the intent was, you did a great job with that. Chief Prater, who I've asked to be up here again for the 3rd time now. She's an absolute rock star. I couldn't do something like this without her. I know Steve Rice had his fingers all over this thing, making sure that things were going the right way. And then again, my good friend, Major General Rodney Boyd, the for him to be here today, what a great thing. So many thanks. First thing I want to start off with, there's absolutely no way I could have done this without the grace of God. We had a plan. Okay, however many it's going to be, that's the first one. He had a plan. There was a moment in time where I was really disappointed that I didn't get in the active Air Force. I graduated from college, and I didn't get in to go to pilot training, that is. And somehow I was made aware of the Air National Guard, and then from that point on, the opportunities and the timing and everything worked out so perfectly. But the thing that sticks to me is the watchful hand that he had over us over those 700 hours of combat time that I had. Some people will call that luck. It was not luck. There's a lot of things that just happened for just out of crazy reasons why something else happened and we didn't get hurt and those kinds of things. So thanks. I just know better. My dad was he was really proud of his entire family. And I know he'd be really proud of me right now. I'm not going to do that to you guys. I just wish he was here with us right now. This much easier to say this one. My mom, stand up, Mom. I did that because she loves the limelight. I'm not sorry. My mom is going to be 90 years old in less than 90 days. I hope you don't get a chance to talk to her because she is straight up awesome. It's amazing. She put up with me. She raised me. Apparently, I was a terrible child when I was growing up. She raised 4 other great kids in spite of me, and she put up with my dad. So I had no idea how difficult it is to be a parent or a military member until I had one of my own. And so I put you through a lot of stuff, and I apologize for that. But again, it's been a great ride, and we're on the other side of it now. And I was talking to Cindy coming in here, and I said, hey, just make sure everybody knows that she is a phenomenal mother and an even better mother-in-law. So Cindy wanted to make sure we got that. Mom, I love you so much. Thank you for being here. This one ain't going to get any easier. So Cindy, so I stand up here with a rack of ribbons and medals on my chest here. And this is absolutely ridiculous that if they gave out medals for being a wife or mother or a teacher, cook, or a friend, your ribbon rack would go up over the top of your shoulder, down your sleeve, and run down the back side. I talked about at my last promotion ceremony, she wears 3 stars. And I frocked her to that. I said frocked for the guys in the back. Frocked with F-R. But she has the rank. She wears the rank in the family. And while I was preparing for this, I read a 6-page document that she wrote the days after we left to go to Minhad. There's the second Minhad reference. Minhad was when we took off, and our orders were we're going to go somewhere over in the Middle East, and we're going to be there for 2 years. We didn't know what we're going to do. We didn't know what we're in for. And I read those 6 pages, and thank goodness there were only 6 pages, and thank goodness she was up getting ready, and she didn't see me reading those, and it was tough. And it puts you into the perspective of how difficult that is for a wife and a mother and all those loved ones that were the thoughts that she had going through her head as I stepped off into the unknown. She had 2 3-year-old babies, and was absolutely amazing. Like the role model, the way she handled that was absolutely incredible. At the end of that, throughout all that, raised 2 amazing kids, and we all know that if left to me, they'd have been better off raised by wolves. So thank God she was there. And I will tell you, we were both worried that when I was going to have a lot of time on my hands, and I was going to be spending a lot of time at home. And that is absolutely not an issue. I will tell you in front of all these all these guys trying to be a tough guy. I am more in love with my wife today than I was yesterday or the day before that. I love you very much and look forward to this next chapter. During my last speech, I talked about my kids. Kids are born into this. They didn't have a choice. Now you got a choice. This is on you now. So since then, one has joined the military and one is going to marry into the military. So that ain't on me. That's on you guys. All right. Second Lieutenant Danny McDonough. You cannot imagine how proud I am of you and how jealous I am of you. You're flying a military aircraft, you're flying upside down, you're flying acro, you're flying fingertip formation. All that stuff is very, very cool. But what I'm most jealous of is you are starting your career in this amazing organization, the Illinois Air National Guard, and you're going to realize you joined to fly airplanes, and like many of us, find a craft, go to school for free or whatever it is, but you're going to realize the reason why you're going to stay, probably not 40 years, but the reason why you're going to stay is for these amazing people that surround you right now. So very, very proud of you. I love you very much. Claire? I think I talked about you, didn't you? All right. I knew you were going to be the one the day that he introduced us to you. So at the moment, he was going to be a medical guy. That was going to be easy. And, big switch. He said, no, I'm going to do the military thing, and it's going to be a crazy ride. But I trust me, you're going to enjoy it. And again, you'll be embraced by this family that's behind you right now, and I cannot be happier to welcome you into our family here in less than 2 months. So I'll talk a little bit about that later. We got lots of time now. Cindy and I got nothing else to do. Babysit grandkids, just to talk. Whatever we going to do. Kelly. Kelly was Kelly, when she was little, way little, she said, is there a college in Peoria? Sean, my nephew, was getting ready to go back to Southern. And she said, I don't know if I want to leave. I don't know if I want to leave you guys. I want to go to college in Peoria so I don't have to leave. Well, she got over that. She went to Iowa, and then she went to Indiana, and then she went to Arizona, and now she's in Georgia. And now she's engaged to an active duty soldier. And they live in the wonderful, I can't even lie about that. They live in Fort Benning right now. It's not quite helpful, but you can get on the corner. So she left Arizona with a dry air heat and went to Georgia and says, it rains every stinking day, I think is what she said. And, but anyhow, so now they're moving 4,500 miles west. They're going to go to Schofield Parish and live in Hawaii. So they're going to do that like this month. So yeah, she got over that wanting to stay home with mom and dad. So she's turned into this strong, independent woman and has found her niche as a speech and language pathologist. I always have to say that. Did I get that right? I screwed it up, didn't I? All right. Yeah. But I can tell you, she's like the Pied Piper. These little kids just glom to her and love her, and she can they just flock to her. It's awesome. So I am so proud of what you're doing, in my opinion, God's work. And I know you're going to love Hawaii, and the people in Hawaii are going to love you. So you may even love the Army life. I love you. Kelly's fiance, Second Lieutenant Benjamin Honey's. I tried. And when first day I met him, Kelly says, he's probably going to try to get you to get in the guard. And I did, and he told me to go straight to hell. I've been wanting to be an Army Ranger my entire life. Since it got wherever the honeyest is around, and there you go. Since he's about this tall. And damn if he didn't do it. So we've been in training. We collectively have been in training now for 2 years. He is an airborne Army Ranger. And this is one of those things for us Air Force. We don't know how cool this is, but made it through Ranger School in the 62. How do you say that? Oh, 62 and 3. Got through, never got any setbacks. And you think, yeah, that's pretty cool. 17% of his 340 people in that class did that. So that dude is a badass. So I I hope your journey is half as good as my journey, and you're going to love your life in the profession of arms. And I cannot wait to welcome you into our family. Hot breaking news, before I even wrote, or after I even wrote this script, they decided today, or maybe the look on your face, maybe we're not going to do it now. I don't know. I have to pick the wedding date today. More to follow on that. So, just like my mom and dad, I'm so incredibly proud of my family, and I love you all. Thank you so much for the support throughout the years. Out there in TV land, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, MySpace, whatever it is, I've got my in-laws, Jim and Jan Kelly. They're unable to travel right now, but I tell you, I could not have asked for a better set of in-laws. They showed me what right was. They've been supported through all 40 years, and when I would leave, Cindy was struggling to raise or trying to take care of the 2 kids. They stepped up and just did incredible work and huge heavy lifts while I was gone. So that helped Cindy, that helped me. And again, you showed me what it's like, what right is when it comes to in-laws. So my brothers and sisters, Sister, dear, the other ones out there in TV land, thank you for not murdering me as a child. Again, apparently I was an awful child. And we're putting up with 4 of these types of ceremonies. This is the last one, I guarantee. Next one will be somebody's wedding or whatever. I promise you there will never be another one of these. And thanks again for helping Cindy while I was gone and pulling the weight on that. And for the extended Kelly family that's out there, I'm so thankful that you've always made me feel part of the family. And between our card games and our hipster games and our the nieces and children screaming at us for having too much fun, we've always had a great time. And look forward to doing that, getting together for a couple of weddings here in the very near future. So thanks again to the family, to my military folks. General Boyd talked a little bit about us being friends, and it's so awesome to be able to go to work and just enjoy the people that you work with. And again, like you said, we worked together for a while, and you became an even better boss. And I appreciate your friendship, and I appreciate you carving time out to be here today. I realize you got 13,000 people you could be dealing with. You chose me today. It means an awful lot to me. Thank you so much. Generals Mealy and Ms. Honestly for what you're here, but they hired me to the ATAC position. General Hayes, General Paul hired me to be the wing commander. And then going in the Wayback Machine back in 1985 when Lieutenant Colonel Bill Troy was my end. He was my Joni, my sister-in-law. They were family friends. He said, "Hey, I know the guy out there that hires pilots." And I was like, "Yeah, okay, I want to talk to that guy." He offered me a munitions job that day. And I remember going home and telling Mom, "That place is so cool, I may just do that." That was really, really awesome. And then I eventually got to talk to General Rezak and Colonel Rezak at the time. And that's what changed my mind, changed my life, actually. So, great man, saw something in me, sent me to pilot training, hired me as a full-timer. And then at some point, it made more sense to get rid of me. Let's go with a different guy that had more experience. And he says, "No, that guy's going to be somebody someday." I will never forget that. I owe everything to you. Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate that. And going way back into, back then, Captain Robertson, who was my mentor. I was doing pilot training. I would talk to him, call him, find out what the things were. We go back 38 years. And he's always been a good friend of mine. He rescued me from the airline life, brought me back in here to the full-time job, and without question was the guy that paved the way for me to be the next wing commander and then ultimately move on to where I am right now. Doc Good, I've told this story before. My career was over. I had a condition with my heart that was disqualifying at the time. And Doc Good said, no, we're going to get you back flying again. And matter of fact, I see you as a general someday. And I'm like, oh, come on, Doc. We're crying out loud. He saw something in me, and I appreciate the work that he did. Doc Boyer, Doc Carpenter, again, all the help that you're doing right now, keeping me on this side of the dirt, as I refer to that. I appreciate everything, and we'll continue to do that. Once I got into command, I had a lot of people that I worked with, General Sabasi, General Jacobs, General Green, absolutely amazing staff. Mike Mahalik, again, go back to Mike Mahalik was the chief of staff. director of staff. That just means he does all the work and I sign the stuff. And then he moved on and I brought Steve Rice up there. He did that same thing. But ultimately, nothing makes me prouder than seeing that star get checked on. It makes me very, very happy. So back here in Peoria, you got Steve Thomas. He literally did the work of 6 men. Rick Wayman, I see you in the back there. Thanks, buddy. Jesse Pippins, again, we talked about Jesse. Jesse's fingerprints are all over the success of this operation. Joint Force Headquarters team, when I went down there, leaving this place after 36 years, day one, I felt like I belonged there. You guys brought me in and made me feel like I was welcome. Thank you so much for that. The 3 wing commanders, man. You got Rusty, Nick, and Sean. You guys just realized what right looks like and clearly communicated and make sure that those 3 wings that are doing excellent things, just amazing things right now. You make the state look so good. I made my job so easy. I can't thank you enough. Thanks for the work that you guys are doing. The members of the 183rd, the 126, every time I went down there, I guess I was a general, so you didn't have much choice. But you treated me like you treated me very well. And I always, again, felt welcome. And you guys are just doing absolutely amazing work. Again, kind of running down the list. Lippert did a lot of this, and I know we're all getting hungry and thirsty. We probably got beef if you're like me. Art Welker, Corey Reed, Steve Thomas, Steve Rice, Tim Scumball, Brian Filler, and Scott Grotmo. That bunch, we worked together for such a long time. Those are my mentors. Those are my good friends. We worked hard and had a lot of fun. I'm seeing Heather White for the first time in any of these things. Heather, stand up for a second. You are yeah. Heather put up with me during my formative command years. Heather probably has a box or a file or something of all the things that could take me down. I can't believe I got to this point, Heather. you had that? But anyhow, I had 2 Heathers in my life. I've got Heather White and Heather Prater. And their approach to life and professionalism could not be any farther on the spectrum. I'll let you figure out who did what. I love both my Heathers. They were absolutely fantastic, but just took different approaches in life. But Christy Payton, Lisa King, Lisa McKinney, Casey, JC, JD, and Beetle. Thank you so much for all of all of the fun that we had. Sam Norville, Jason Riddell, and Tanner Knox have been doing all the stuff that nobody else wants to do as executive officers. Thank you. To all my friends in the back of 182nd, and it's just been an honor. This will always be home to me. Maybe I shouldn't say that with the other 2 wing commanders here. This is awesome. My ops crews, I learned so much with you guys every time I flew with you. My chiefs, and again, there are thousands of them, it seems like, but Chief Burton, Chief Turner, Chief Armstrong I saw back there, Chief Eckel had an enormous impact on me. Thank you for that. The world famous A-Team, and all the other crews that trusted me with my leadership when I took them into combat. That was absolutely wonderful. And then most importantly, everybody else that I didn't mention, I know there's only about 4 of you in here. That was a joke, by the way. It's as good as you come get. I know you're all tired, hungry. You've been standing for an hour and a half. For the folks that are not in uniform, the Air National Guard's community, the Illinois National Guard is just made up of just amazing people doing amazing things. And this is their part-time gig. They go off and they work at Caterpillar, they work at the airline, or whatever it is they do, and then they come in here and they compete with guys like them that do it full-time. That's not a dig at either one of them. They just say these guys these people take this very, very seriously, and just the consummate professionals. It's absolutely amazing. So, moving on, people have asked me, do I miss it? Steve, I called Steve the other day, and I said, what are you doing, Steve? He said, I'm writing appraisals. I'm like, oh my gosh, I do not miss that. I don't miss anything about the Air Force. Not a single thing. That's not true. I miss flying, and I miss the people. I mean, it's just so, I don't miss the deadlines, I don't miss the performance appraisal, I don't miss any of that stuff, but when people say, what do you miss? It's this, it's the people, it's the relationships. People just doing great things. And then somebody just asked me in the news, they're gone now, said, what was your greatest accomplishment? And this was absolutely the very first thing that came to my mind. I got to do a lot of cool things. I got to fly some cool, I don't know if I mentioned I was next to Steve.
That was the first time I mentioned that, by the way. And other people do that for me. But I got to do some really cool stuff. I got to see the world in that airplane. It was absolutely amazing. I was fortunate enough to command Dan Gabrielli, the folks in Minneapolis. They trusted me to command a combat squadron 4 times. That just doesn't happen. I've been so gifted, so blessed. Not gifted by any means, blessed. But my greatest accomplishment is, again, watching the people that are coming up behind me. Steve Rice, who worked for me at one point, is now doing my job. And at every level of leadership, people that standing in and doing great things and taking on that role and being leaders at every level. It's absolutely, that is by far my greatest accomplishments. And then as I think about it, as I hang up my uniform, the only thing that endures, nobody cares about how many ribbons I got a really cool shadow box here that I'll show my grandkids how cool I look. Grandkids, I don't have anybody to show right now, so probably ought to get married first, I guess. That might be but yeah, the thing that will endure is, again, I am absolutely blown away that there are this many people here. Again, I thought maybe the first, second, third row would be here. So thank you so much. But again, it's the relationships is what I'm going to remember. And so how did I get here? How am I standing up in front of you? It's not anything that I did. It's the great people that brought me up. The Rezaks, the Robertsons, the Rice, everybody that I just mentioned in here. I made a little bit of my own luck, but for the most part, I looked at every job that I got as this is the coolest thing that's ever happened to me. I think about it, I'm flying airplanes and somebody's paying me to do it. Man, it doesn't get any better now. And then the equipment got better. I didn't know if I mentioned I was an F-16 guy for a while. And then we got to fly the C-130, see that part of the world. Every one of these things, I looked at, it can't get any better. And then I got into command. And I'm like, holy cow, it doesn't get any better. It just kept going and going. And so, but at every level, I would have been absolutely content. I was never worried about, I got to do this so I can get to the next level. So if I gave any advice to the folks that are still in uniform, don't necessarily be in a hurry. Enjoy the ride, man. It's an absolute blast wherever you're at in the food chain. Your career plan and the Air Force career plan might not line up, but you'll eventually get there. Things will work out. Be happy, with what you do. Excuse me. Enjoy what you do when you come to work. And if you don't do that, find something else. If this isn't it, maybe it's time to step over the side and do something else. Sorry about that. I know our numbers. We got to work on that. But at the end of the day, you got to enjoy coming to work. So, and be ready for every opportunity. I said this in every single time I give a speech. I was so lucky to find something I loved doing with people I loved working with. And if you can get to that point, that's nirvana, in my opinion. So I'm wrapping it up with a couple things. Enjoy wearing a uniform and be proud of it. Every one of us who has hung up our uniform and says, man, I wish I could wear that utility uniform, not this one, this is top. But wearing your OCPs and doing the job that you did. It is an absolute privilege to serve. Never forget that. 0.6% of society, 0.6% of the United States serves. That's incredible. So those of you who are serving, be very, very proud of that. I tell you what, enjoy saluting the flag with the national anthem, when the national anthem is playing. And if you don't get goosebumps when you're doing that, figure out why, because that is absolutely one of the coolest things I've ever done. I did it for 40 years, and I still get goosebumps when that happens. And appreciate the people that are thanking you for your service. It hasn't always been that way, right, Dave? There was a time, Dave Cox, when people spit on you for being baby killers, and the world, the nation has changed, and the nation understands this now. So when they're thanking you for their service, they mean it. Take that and appreciate that. And I'd say enjoy the camaraderie of like-minded service members just like us. Live every day. Enjoy the craft of either fixing, flying, preparing, protecting, or paying. We get to work with world-class people on equipment. Not everybody gets to do that. I said people out in the industry doing other things are not necessarily crying when they take their uniform off for the last time, like some of us do. I'd say make every day count. leave your mark on this place and leave it better than you found it. You knew I was going to throw a Zach Brown verse in here. So Zach Brown from Quiet Your Mind, soak it all in. I'm not going to sing to you. We all run out of here. Soak it all in. It's a game you can't win, but enjoy the ride. Folks, thank you so much for coming out. Thanks for everything you all do back there. It's been the absolute honor of a lifetime to serve in any capacity, much less this one here. Folks, I salute you. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, John. Before we conclude today's ceremony, I believe you did this to me once, so I'm going to do it to you. We've got a couple of speakers that you weren't expecting. I'd like to, at this time, invite Kelly and Danny up to the stage to say a few words about their father.
We'll see how this goes, Dad. Good afternoon, everybody. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Second Lieutenant Danny McDonough, and if the last name didn't already give it away, I'm the proud son of Colonel McDonough here. I'm currently attending undergraduate pilot training at Laughlin Air Force Base in Del Rio, and I've been fortunate enough to earn the opportunity to fly the C-130 here at the same base where my dad began his career all those years ago. It's a special privilege to stand here today, not only as a son, but as someone who's just beginning a journey that he helped inspire. I'm going to start with a seemingly unrelated story about my dad. When I was about 7 years old, I started watching football. At the time, I rooted for the Chicago Bears, like someone in Central Illinois does. And while my dad was while my dad was a diehard Minnesota Vikings fan, after watching him spend every Sunday yelling at the television, I, for some reason, decided that I wanted to do that too. So before the start of the 2008 season, I broke the news to him. Instead of celebrating, he gave me a stern warning. He said, "Do not do it. It will be so much easier to be a Bears or a Packers fan. The Vikings are never on TV, and they will only break your heart." Of course, I ignored him. As a kid, my dad was the coolest guy in the world, so I want to be just like him. Now, 18 years later, I can confidently say he was absolutely right. There's been nothing but pain, heartbreak, and a lifetime of convincing myself that next year is our year. Although that story may seem unrelated to a day like today, I think it reveals a few important things about my dad. First is that no matter what I wanted to do in my life, you always wanted me to do what was best for me. You never tried to push me in one direction or another. You never told me what I should become. Instead, you always gave me the same simple advice: do something that makes you happy. When I wanted to be a Vikings fan, you said, whatever makes you happy. When I was younger and I dreamed of being a firefighter, an astronaut, a race car driver, and even a garbage man, you told me to do what made me happy. In high school and even throughout college, when I wasn't sure what path I wanted to take, your advice never changed. Find something that makes you happy. So when I finally told you that I thought I wanted to be a pilot, I knew you were excited because of what it meant to you. But more than that, you were happy because you knew I had found something that made me happy. And that's the kind of father you've always been. That brings me to my second takeaway. I've always wanted to be just like you. Whether it was wearing number 8 on the baseball field, sporting a buzz cut until high school, or being the only kid in class whose favorite artist was Toby Keith, I was always trying to follow your example. One of my greatest motivations throughout life has always been making you proud. Now I have the unique opportunity to follow your footsteps as a pilot. While I can't really replicate the intimidating voice and stature, and I can't say I'm doing McDonough, I fly F-16s. Won't be able to do that one. You still give me one incredible blueprint to follow otherwise. It speaks volumes about the kind of man, father, and leader that you are, that your son would choose to walk the same path. If I can build even a fraction of the career, character, and reputation that you have, I'll consider it a success. As I climb into the T6 and take my first military flights, I can't help but reflect on how meaningful this moment is. I'm just beginning this journey, making all the same mistakes you made 38 years ago. taking entirely too long to complete ground ops, butchering radio calls, and filling out 10 bullfish sheets a day. All the while you're completing an absolutely remarkable career. It feels fitting that as one chapter closes, another begins. And Dad, the example that you've set has given me a standard to strive toward, both in my career and as a person. Though I know I have a long way to go before I can fully appreciate all that you've accomplished, I hope to carry forward the values that you live every day throughout your career. Thank you for inspiring me all throughout my life, and congratulations on a hell of a career.
Today, we celebrate an incredible career, but more importantly, an incredible man, my dad. Growing up in a military family was unique. I learned early that service to our country is not just a job, it's a lifestyle. My dad spent decades flying airplanes and leading thousands of people with confidence and compassion. I watched him lead for deployments without ever expecting any recognition. He taught me courage and dedication, not through words, but through actions. There's no one I have ever met who's more hardworking or more dedicated than my dad. Many people in this room, he was a leader, maybe even intimidating to some because of his rank, his height, or his deep voice. But to me, he was just my dad. The man who always knew how to push my buttons by repeating the same dad jokes for years on end, but who was also always there to support me and Danny no matter what. Believe it or not, he was actually very soft and sentimental on the inside. Despite the demands of military life, he always made our family feel like the priority. Even after long days, he was still the dad, sitting at the kitchen table, helping me through tears over grade school math homework. And somehow, despite spending his days flying airplanes and leading thousands of people, he still made time to watch The Bachelor with me every week, just because it meant we got to spend more time together. He always acted like he didn't care, but we both know he had much stronger opinions about each contestant than I did. And Mom, you deserve recognition too. Being a child in a military family comes with a lot of uncertainty and stress. The deployments, the missed holidays or birthdays, the Skype calls from across the globe with about a 30-second lag, and not fully understanding why our dad had to be gone for 3 or more months at a time. Oh, okay. You carried all of that with strength and grace. You were the constant through every deployment, every goodbye, and every homecoming. You held our family together, even on the days when Danny and I definitely did not make it easy. So this career belongs to you too. Dad, today the Air National Guard honors your remarkable career, but your greatest legacy will never be the rank you achieved or the cool airplanes you got to fly. It will be the people whose lives you changed. As a kid, I remember asking my mom whether or not my dad had any friends while he was deployed. But looking around the room, I realized I never needed to worry about that at all. The way you served, led, and cared for others made everyone around you better. You showed Danny and I what a meaningful life looks like, and the example you set is something we will carry forever. You may not have to wear that uniform anymore, and you can finally grow out your vacation goatee, but the impact you made will never fade. No title or rank will ever mean more to me and Danny than simply getting to call you Dad. People usually think heroes only exist in movies or books, but as I got older, I realized I got to grow up with them. I have always been incredibly proud to call you my dad, and you will always be my hero.
Major General McDonough, men and women of the United States Armed Forces are proud to have served with you. Your knowledge, wisdom, dedication, and friendship will be sorely missed by all. We wish you and your family well as you begin this new chapter of your life. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for attending. This concludes today's ceremony. Please rise and join us in the singing of the Air Force song, followed by a receiving line mid-stage to congratulate Major General McDonough and his family.
more.
Ladies and gentlemen, one alibi from the general. Following the receiving line, there will be refreshments at the All Ranks Club on base, so please join us over there. Thank you.